Hey, just finished my workout and I actually just had a client text me and she's like, you always have so much energy. And I just heard that like last night as well. I'm like, I hear that a lot and it's funny. I mean, energy is a really powerful word and it's, everything is energy. But I think in this context, people ask me that like, you never catch me saying like, I am so exhausted. I used to, and it wasn't me. It didn't feel natural to me ever. When I was a kid, I was always just, the questionable hyperactive child, but it wasn't that. It was just, I was just full of enthusiasm and full of light and excitement. And that's, that's our natural state of being. And so one tip I wanted to drop down, because I've talked about this before. I definitely walk my clients through this. It's really super simple and it's totally just physiological, these physiological principles of how we use our energy system. So what I actually call it finding your soul steady state. So in physiology, you have your steady state. And what that actually means is, let's say you are doing cardiovascular activity, perhaps, training for a marathon. And ideally, you want to find your steady state, which simply means you're taking in just enough oxygen to get to your working muscles to activate and continuously move fatty acids into your bloodstream so that you can use that energy and sustain the workload. So you can essentially go forever. Now, human beings we're built with kind of 3 energy systems, and they all integrate, they all dance beautifully together. And the first one is like when you have to do a really short bout of intense activity, and it's your ATP CP stores. ATP is like our energy life force, and creatine phosphate, when it mixes with that, it gives us enough energy to do like 10 seconds of really intense work, and then it's out. So it's not a very efficient source of energy, but it is a very powerful, like we need to do something like, oh my God, a truck is coming and we got to launch out of the way, ATP CP, because it's readily available. We can get it quickly. We have another energy system, which is glycolysis, and that's what we use when we're doing activity like high intensity interval training uses glycolysis. Or if you're, a track athlete and you run anywhere from like 100 meters to 400 meters. So it's between about 60 and 90 seconds, 2 minutes. And again, it's readily available energy source for us. It's utilizing the energy that we actually have stored within our muscle cells. So it's right there. It's really accessible. So we have glycogen stored in the muscle cell itself, and we can pull that and use that. However, it runs out too. So although it's readily available and we can use it for a bit longer than ATP-CP, we can't use it as long as what we would need to sustain longer workloads like running a marathon. Then we tap into our aerobic capabilities. And here's where I want to go with this. So that's life. Life is aerobic. Life is like an aerobic sport. We are going, right? And it's occasionally we have to sprint, and occasionally we have to do a little bit more. We've got these jolts, and it's a good thing that our physiology can supply us with those power blasts of energy. And I can get into a whole freaking training on that and how that dances beautifully with your spiritual fitness and your mental fitness. So much goodness there, and how to tap into like just operating at a state of peak existence. As a leader, you've got to be able to, I say you've got to. I invite you to really tap into your capabilities. How you manage your energy is everything as a leader, as a human, but as a leader, and you're going all day, this is like, this is the difference. This is the difference between impacting millions of people and making millions of dollars and just living a life of prosperity and joy and abundance and freedom versus like having to force and fight and struggle and being exhausted and not leading from that place of like, oh, this is bliss. This is pure bliss. Anyway, do a whole training on that. So finding your steady state in physiology, if you're going to run a marathon, obviously you don't want to sprint. and you don't want to go too slow. You want to find that pace, and you felt it probably if you're a runner before, where you just like, you tap in and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm at this rhythm where I feel like I could go forever. We get to this rhythm where in our aerobic state, again, we're taking in oxygen now, and that oxygen is going into our bloodstream and allowing us to create some chemical processes that give us glucose energy from fatty acids. We have enough stored fat to run essentially like 12 or 13 back-to-back marathons. It's amazing. Thousands of calories in stored fat that we can turn from potential energy into kinetic energy for use. But we want to find our steady state, which simply means we reach this point where we're like taking in just enough, producing just enough energy to keep us going. It's not too much where we burn out. It's not too little where we're not able to drive forward. It's a beautiful, sweet state. It feels so amazing. That is life. So I say, find your soul steady state. So here's what I'm gonna offer to you, my tip, but also a little exercise. Right now, if you have a moment, wherever you are, do 50 jumping jacks. If you can't do that, run in place for 30 seconds and then like walk or run as fast as you can for another minute. Just like be in chaos, okay? Create like chaotic movement. And then when you're done with that, take a deep breath and then just lay on the floor and take a few deep breaths and then roll over and get up as slow as you can, like literally like one vertebra at a time, like painfully slow. And what you're gonna see from doing those two different activities is you're gonna feel differently doing both, but you're also gonna notice your experience being quite different. Like both are probably not gonna feel that comfortable, right? One is too fast and one is too slow. So somewhere in between those two is your soul steady state. When you find it, it's this beautiful place of I'm going slow enough that I notice everything around me. I notice possibilities, I notice solutions, I notice everything, and I can appreciate everything. And when you find that pace and you walk through life like that, you have energy for days. If you're going too fast like I used to, it's super dangerous. You're in worry mode, you're in chaos mode, you blast into things, you bump into shit, you don't see things, you don't see possibilities, you don't have solutions to things, you're kind of like down here. It's rushing, it's force, and it bleeds out energy. You're tapping into other energy systems that aren't as efficient. Like when you're doing jumping jacks, right? It doesn't feel good, and it creates a lot of stress and disharmony in the body. Obviously going too slow, maybe a little frustrating. So it's again in between. Do that test for yourself and find that sweet spot. Your body knows. You will feel it. You will be like, ah, yes. And then you can catch yourself out when you're rushing around and you're like, oh, and you're starting to get that sensation of like your eyes kind of sinking into the back of your head, or like your heart rate is up a lot, or you can just feel the constriction in your blood vessels if you're very aware of your body, or you start to feel a tension in your shoulders, like you just ran a 100-meter dash. If you're feeling like that throughout your day, slow the fuck down, people. And that's hard. I used to think like slow is dumb, slow you're a loser, slow you lose, slow you miss out. That's how I was like that was just so in my brain. However, being in this state, it's so much healthier. It's so much more in balance. And everybody has a different soul steady state. It's just, what is your sweet spot where you feel like I could go for days? I got energy for freaking days. That's why at the end of I never say I'm exhausted. When I do start to feel like that, I'm like, oh, I was in chaos. I was in worry. I was rushing around. And then I get to check in with myself and slow down. So that's a little exercise I invite you to do. And then find your soul steady state. And then operate from that place. And if you need any assistance at all, please reach out. This is my jam. This is what I do. And, I'm full of life and I'm full of energy, and I get to share that. And I love nothing more than watching people light up when they find that rhythm. It's so beautiful. So if you want more assistance, please reach out. I am here. I am holding that field of support for you. I got you. Much love. Happy Friday. Peace out.